They call it the inside passage, but still, there's a couple of places where it is exposed and it can get pretty nasty for little boats, okay? The one that always gets this is called Queen Charlotte Sound. You know, that's where all the stories come from. And there's kind of a protocol that's evolved. There's a place on the south called God's Pocket. There's a place on the north called Safety Cove. And then if you're northbound in the spring, you go to God's Pocket and you wait for a good weather forecast, okay? Well, forecasts can be a little iffy in that part of the coast. So even if you get a good forecast, then what you do is before you go to bed, you get your boat all ready, you tie things down, you make sure nothing's gonna break loose, and you set your alarm clock for 3 a.m., okay? When the alarm goes off, you get up, open your door, and you kind of listen. You see if any trees are falling in the forest, if the wind's blowing, if you can hear the roar of the surf. And only if it's calm do you take off, okay? But still, you can get caught and you can get beat up. For instance, a friend of mine, he was traveling southbound late in the year, October. He'd stayed to catch the last fish with 2 children in diapers. He got to Safety Cove, the weather was bad. He had to wait a week at Safety Cove. The weather was still bad, but then they ran out of diapers. And when that happened, they had to take off anyway, and they got beat up really bad by the weather. Here's why staying in inside waters is critical, especially in wintertime. Spring of 1971, I was crewman on a state-of-the-art king crab boat. Brand new, 104 feet long. I felt so lucky to get this job. We left Seattle. The next afternoon, I'm on watch, and we're coming up Hecate Straits. And it's starting to blow really hard, but it's behind us, okay? So we just got these long rollers, and I'm alone on watch in the pilot house, and it's starting to snow, so visibility isn't very good. And I see this target on radar where it's supposed to be all open water, you know, and it's like, I'm fiddling with the radar and working with the tuning going, what's wrong? I mean, I didn't want to, you know, make an error here. So I slowed the engine down, and of course that brings the skipper out, and I just said, hey George, look at the radar. So he looks in the radar and goes, whoa, what is that? So he slows the boat down, okay? Instantly, that brings everybody up in the pilot house because, you know, we normally wouldn't slow the boat down in the middle of nowhere. So we're peering ahead into the gloom, okay? And it's getting dark and it's blowing hard, and they got these rollers behind us we're riding on, maybe 25 footers. And then in this break between snow squalls, we see breakers. I mean, it's just a mass of white water ahead. We go, whoa, breaking in 100 feet of water. We couldn't possibly go through there, even in our big boat. So we start looking at the chart and say, well, it's the tides coming in from the north and creating these tide rips and breakers. There's supposed to be a gully of deep water. Well, we went back and forth. We couldn't find that gully, and we couldn't go through those breakers. So our only choice was to go through the islands to the east into the inside passage, but we didn't have a chart, okay? Here's $1 million boat. We planned on going up through Hecate Straits, so they didn't bring all the detailed charts of the inside passage, okay? So, but the skipper's brother said, George, I went through here about 20 years ago. I think I remember. So here it is. Now it's dark. It's snowing really hard, and I'm the least experienced guy in this pilot house, so I'm just stepping back out of the way and just watching what's going on. We're going through here, and there's so much snow that the radar is cluttered, so it's hard to see exactly where you are. We're watching the sounder. 3 times we go into this channel, which we think is going to take us the inside passage, but then the depth finder comes up, and our big crab lights reveal rocks and trees with frozen ice all over them. We had to turn around, and I'm beginning to feel a little bit of fear and anxiety in everybody in the pilot house. Not what I expected in a brand new boat. finally, on the 4th try, the channel opened up to another channel and another one beyond that, and we made it into the inside passage. But next time we went up, they went inside.